Well, welcome back into Studio 10, and today is World Mental Health Day, and grief can have a profound impact on our mental health, making us feel like a lot of times we're alone and we have nowhere to turn.
Exactly, which is why I wanted to sit down with a very special St. John's family who's grieving the loss of an amazing husband, father, and friend. But with the help of the community and local resources, they're finding ways to not only remember him, but of course carry on his legacy. Take a look.
Gary and I met online 11 years ago. We ended up talking that whole night until like 3:30 in the morning. And on September 5th, 2013, he drove to Lansing and surprised me to meet for lunch. And the rest is pretty much history.
2 years from that very day, Katie and Gary Gatewood got married and together created a beautiful family in St. John's.
And then we have our 6-year-old and a very large gap, followed by our medically complex Charlie, and then our very fast, right after Charlie, Chloe. Overall, Gary was the best teammate there ever was for parenting. Honestly, that's my biggest struggle.
That's because on September 4th, Gary lost his life in a hunting accident when his rifle misfired, a loss that his family and friends face every day.
It feels impossible because he's not replaceable.
He was the glue that kind of held us together. He knew how to make everybody laugh. He knew how to break up the hard moments, and he knew how to put a smile on everybody's face and just make everything a little bit easier. And trying to get through this without him, it does feel impossible.
In these impossible and dark days, the St. John's community has stepped up to the plate to help Katie and her family with GoFundMes, fundraisers, and meal trains.
I don't think the words thank you are adequate. I am not sure how to thank the community, to be completely honest with you. I'm not sure what words to put on it. I just hope that they all realize that they are what's getting me through right now.
Right now. But what about the future? For Katie, she shares that's what she's most worried for.
Okay, I might get it through the first year, but what's going to happen, you know? But again, I don't think that anybody is going to let us crumble.
Especially as both Katie and Rachel know that grief will come in waves.
Even though we are all together, it can still feel very lonely. And, you know, everybody goes through that. You know, grief's a cycle, and it just keeps rearing its ugly head and everything. But it's nice to know that people are there and that we have that love and support always.
Christine, the director of Ellie's Place, lost her husband too. She shares that grief, as hard as it gets, comes from love.
Grief is love that has nowhere to go. And so if you tuck it away, at some point it's coming out. And that's the, you know, here at Ellie's Place and what I did with my kids, you have to sit with it, as hard as it is. And so the most important part is to remember that it's love that's nowhere to go.
Christine shares that other ways to help those that are grieving is not just to be there initially, but in the following months and years.
But it's later on when the loneliness hits. That's when you bring the meal. That's when you send the card. People want to know that their person is still thought about and loved, because as a family member, you don't stop thinking about them. So your gift, if you can share a story, remember a date, will have a lasting impact on the family.
For Katie, she knows that her beautiful girls will be Gary's legacy, but so will his favorite game, cornhole.
The intention is going to be, we will be having an annual cornhole tournament for Gary. I mean, when he wasn't dadding or working, he was loving him some cornhole. So I think that'll be a good way to carry on his memory.
Well, I can personally say that Gary was an amazing man, and I truly believe that his memory will live on in many different ways. And there are so many ways to support the Gatewoods, not only at this time, but a lot of times going forward, as we heard from Christine, and that there are other grieving and mental health resources all be available at WILX.com. But don't go anywhere.